Assalamualaikum, my name is Muhammad and ASYRAF bin ABDULLAH. So I will introduce about the education of policy. So we straightforward to the KSSR. What is the education policy initiative in KSSR? So in 2017, the Ministry of Education planned to roll out the secondary school standard curriculum KSSM and revised primary school standard curriculum KSSR. KSSR is a Malaysian primary curriculum. It focuses on delivering content in an integrated approach to encourage the thirst for knowledge by nurturing them towards lifelong learning. It will empower and enrich them with the capabilities to increase their critical and creative thinking, to exercise their natural curiosity and exploration of knowledge. According to the Director General of the Ministry of Education Malaysia, the redesign of KSSR, which will be launched in January 2017, are a stepping stone in the peer preparation for fast track system for students who satisfy specific benchmark earlier than others. Why this KBSR change to KSSR? As the replacement of the system of KBSR, the KSSR is to address some shortcoming of that system. Okay, so we go through for the objective about the policy. Okay, the KSSR aim to equip people with a basic language skill to enable them communicate effectively in a variety of contexts that are appropriate to the people's level of development. The KSSR framework are built on the basis of 6 fundamental strands of communication: spiritually, attitude and values, humanities, personal competence, physical development and statistics, and science and technology. These 6 strands to support one another and integrated with critical and creative thinking and innovative skill. The integration aim to produce a balanced individual who appreciate and embodies each one of the state strands.
Hi, my name is Muhammad AMIRUL AIMAN bin Lutfi Amin. Next, we go to the strategy implementation for the policy. So as we know that Standard Curriculum for Primary School KSSR is a new policy that has been changed from the old policy, which is Integrated Curriculum for Primary School. So the first strategy to implement this KSSR policy is to make sure that all of the teacher is understand and clear about this policy, because it different from the KBSR. So in order to make sure that this policy can be understand for all the teacher, KSSR has been implement school-based assessment for every teacher and student. This school-based assessment is to focus on evaluate the student ability to meet the standard that has been specified by the KSSR, especially for Year 1 student and Year 2 student from Sekolah Kebangsaan SK and also Sekolah Jenis Kebangsaan SJK. Other than that, this school-based assessment also can help the teacher to find an effective way to teach their student and also to find a suitable material to teach their student. This can help the teacher to make sure that all of their students not feel bored during the class and can focus in the class. All of the teachers that involved in KSSR will be sent to the dissemination course in order to make sure they understand more about this new policy. And all of these teachers will also get supplied supporting material, and also they can access information about this new policy on Ministry of Education website. Next strategy that has been implemented by the Ministry of Education for this KSSR policy is to add a new subject into core subject. This is because the Ministry of Education want to make sure the student has a pure value, element of citizenship and also patriotic spirit. So the new subject that has been added to the course subject is history subject. As we know that the history subject only be learned from the secondary school, which is high school. But since 2014, students from year 4 until year 6 from primary school will be learn the history subject. This can help the student to get ready before they learn the history subject in secondary school. So the exposure of this history subject to the student from primary school is this student will learn the basic knowledge of our country and also help them to be a patriotic student.
Assalamualaikum to our beloved lecturer Ms. Jamira and our fellow classmates. My name is Muhammad bin MALIK and I will be presenting on the impact of COVID-19 on government program that we have chosen, which is the KSSR. So the first impact of COVID-19 on KSSR is increasing in learning dropouts among the students. When the government announced that the school need to be shut down during the Movement Control Order or MCO, many students have stopped involving themselves with academic, especially students from the poor family background. Dr. AHMAD from University Kebangsaan Malaysia said that more than 20,000 students have quit school. This situation is really alarming, especially for Malaysia education system. Many students, especially in standard 1, 2, 3, that in their early stages of education does not have the chance to proper education, and many of them still cannot read, write, and count. Other than affecting the student academic, it also affects the student's spiritual and intellect. Why I say that? This is because the student will have a limited social interaction, thus limiting their social skills. Quoting Dr. Aisyah Rosli, a child psychologist, she said that the children from 4 to 11 years old need to mingle and play with their friends due to their nature, which is cheerful. But when the school has been closed, has been shut down, they may feel stressed due to the lack of socializing and they need to stay at home every time. Moving to the second impact of COVID-19 in our education, is the abolishment of UPSR. UPSR or Ujian Penilaian Sekolah Rendah has been abolished by Minister of Education on 28 April 2021. The 3-decade-long examination was cancelled due to the COVID-19 outbreak in Malaysia, says Malaysia Education Minister Dr. ZAIDI. He also added that the decision has been made because the ministry thinks that the teacher will try to push and rush the syllabus. So the student may feel stressed and eventually they will only study for the examination, not for their education growth. That's all from me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Muhammad SYAKIRIN bin Ahmad ZAIDI. We move to the third impact of the COVID-19 on the policy, which are teachers had to update their teaching method. Whether they like it or not, teacher must adapt their teaching method. They must keep the track of the passage of the time and update the phone to make it more up-to-date for use in the cyberspace training session. The application of the PDP virtually requires skills and knowledge among both teacher and the students. Continuous communication with the teachers and school as well as mutual respect is very important because at this time, teacher will have to rely on the help and cooperation of the parent to ensure that the children follow all the learning and assignment and online assessment provided. The implementation of the Open Distance Learning (ODL) due to the COVID-19 pandemic has become a new form of challenge that students must face. There are various issues that arise such as internet access, device facilities, and the effective of the teaching and learning activities (PDP) implemented not only seem endlessly, but also become among the factors that contribute to the pressure on the group. For the last impact of the COVID-19 on the policy is the issue of the lost generation, the worst impact of the COVID-19 crisis. Okay. The home learning and teaching system, PDPR, currently used by the national school system in the effort to curb the spread of the COVID-19 epidemic. It seems to indirectly trigger the issue of the learning burnout or loss of the motivation to learn and read among the students, especially primary school students. Unfortunately, the COVID-19 crisis will not end until the discovery of the vaccine, where there is initially expectation of this scenario will only occur around the next year. Students need to continue learning and online, even though various issues arise as a result of this informal learning. The issue are students who do not have the internet access or without device, and difficult for teacher and the parent in monitoring student performance. It's been almost about 3 months. Students sit at home. They do not have formal education and loss of the valuable enough time to acquire the knowledge. Even though it left without due attention, we may face the issue of the lost generation, the worst impact of the COVID-19 crisis that we need to avoid together. That's all for me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Muhammad ZULHAMIZY bin RAHMAT, and I will be the one that explaining to the recommendation to the KSSR. So the impact from pandemic COVID-19 in Malaysia is surely worrying to everyone. The result from this situation might causing the performance of students are declining. This is because some of them need to study in hybrid, in which not be suitable for everyone. Thus, KSSR need to step up their new way before reopening back and while student in school. There are a few recommendations that we would like to propose to the KSSR Malaysia. For the first proposal is promote the philosophy of multicultural education. Multicultural education can be defined as any form of education or teaching that incorporates all of subjects including histories, values, belief, and perspective of the people from different cultural backgrounds. To make it more understandable, multicultural education seeks equity for all the students from different cultures to strive to remove the barrier of educational opportunities. According to Islamic perspective, the Quran has mentioned that this concept of human diversity called as as-sunnatullah, where it's stated in chapter 30, verse 22, says differences of color, race, appearance, religion, or even from poor family backgrounds are eligible to get proper education. In this way, multicultural education can aim to improve the learning and success of all students, even from lower educational achievement or attainment. We understand that multicultural education is hard to implement due to economic basis in Malaysia that is quite challenging these days. We are also aware that to achieve 100% of students to get proper education from different cultures is going to take a lot of effort and time. This is because people who are stays in rural area do not have proper connection in terms of transportation or internet connection. Time and effort is our enemy, but it is better than nothing. So, to achieve multicultural education, the KSSR need to follow this step. Firstly is learning context. Text and learning material should be include multiple cultural perspective and references. For example, the history of Chinese and India that stays in Malaysia because of British colonialism. Secondly is critical analysis. The educator may intentionally scrutinize learning material to identify potential prejudice or biased material. Some of the material that they found is one-sided story only. This is crucial because the student need to know the background of their own culture without adding false or fraud info. Last but not least is resource allocation. To To strive multicultural education, it's really depending on equity. The allocation and distribution from learning material and program should be based on need and fairness. For example, the student that having a problem to understand in Malay language can learn bilingual, such as English language, on such an early age for them to understand better. This is ensure that no student will leave behind in every subject. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Muhammad FAHMI bin ZAMRI. So I will talk about the second recommendation, which is improve the effectiveness of health education. So the teachers must show good attitude and good habits to the students towards health and personal hygiene. Basic grooming is one of the simplest methods to prevent occurring infectious disorders such as COVID-19 and flu. A good knowledge of healthy eating is also associated with the higher level of education. By virtue of students who have knowledge about learning will know the sources of the food they eat, whether the food has the required resources or not. It depends on the conditions of the students according to the MFG rate and the food pyramid table. For some reason, the female students have more knowledge than male students about food intake, so they know what sources of food they consume in daily life. To keep healthy, it is necessary to consume a range of natural foods. Students should try to consume a well-balanced diet that includes entire grains, vegetables, and fruits. Additionally, students who practice a healthy diet can maintain more concentration since they have efficient memory. This is because memory is fundamental to the students for learning since it allows them to remember and memorize. Next, to improve their resistance to infectious diseases. Infectious diseases are illnesses caused by pathogens such as virus, fungus, or parasites. The role of teachers in school is crucial, such as utilizing the surroundings. They must ask the students to consider their environments and how this might affect their health or act as vectors for spreading the bacteria. Visual examples are useful when engaging younger kids. They should invite guest speakers who are experts in the field of health. For example, a doctor can show students how important this topic is and how it can be applied in real-life situations. An understanding of these infectious organisms or diseases will give them early exposure before they enter the realism of careers. The last recommendation is to review the removed class system. The Ministry of Education should examine the achievements of the abolished class system over the last 50 years in details. The objective of establishing an elimination class is to ensure that low achiever students in academic will be safely admitted to the lower secondary level. After evaluating relevant statistics and professional analysis, decide whether to stop the eliminate class system. To attain the purpose to abolish the removal class, the Education Ministry has advised that primary 4 pupils in Chinese and Tamil primary education learn the same curriculum as students in national type school. Frequently, it is clearly an unrealistic and huge burden to demand on a 10-year-old to learn and be proficient in 3 languages. Furthermore, introducing more language study in non-Malay medium primary schools will create more issues since more Malay language teachers would be employed in school organizations owing to insufficient time for other lecture or classes. Finally, the school's principals must change their mindset.
Thank you to my presenter. So lastly, I continue for the conclusion. We hope the spark discussion about the how to increase educational option and quality Malaysia children and young people require and deserve the greatest education possible, and our recommendation should be viewed as contribution to this essential goal. In this sense, this pandemic is also called to renew the commitment to the sustained development goal, ensuring that all young people have the opportunity to succeed and school and develop their knowledge, skill, attitude and value that will allow them to contribute to society is at heart of the global agenda and education promise to our future society. The current crisis has tested our ability to deal with large-scale disruption. It is now up to us to build as its legacy a more resilient society. Thank you.